You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, hello, kids, and welcome to season number 3 and episode number 41 of the Not Quite Daily Beaver Morning Show. For those moments when you want to get your winter's day started off right with a nice big bowl of piping hot beaver grizzly goodness, we got some for you, steaming hot. Today, recording day is Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, and it's yet again going to be an unseasonably warm day with temperatures above zero and some precipitation here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And how I missed you on Monday, dear kits. I had a wonderful time in Quebec City, but I'm sure glad to be back in your company. Good morning, Kit Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe. Good morning, Kit Linda M. Good morning, Kit Cal Triple L. That's a new name for us, so welcome. Welcome, Nona. Lovely to see you. Welcome everybody else who's joining us either live or joining us on other platforms or listening to us after the fact. We appreciate the gift of your attention. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We thank them for their support, and we see that Kit Jen and Kit Southlands TFC, which is also a new name for us, have joined us this morning on the chat. Good morning to you and welcome. Before we need to go any further, we first have to take some time to say hello to this podcast's fine co-host. Good morning, Mr. Grizzly. How's your mental health today?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. Mental health. I have it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's I'm in a state of depression. I can't help it. I'm not unhappy. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not feeling the absolute despair that depression often brings, but I'm definitely zero energy and short fuse. So, yeah, you can see by the rolling Chiron on the bottom, how I felt when I started to load things up this morning. To say that I'm in a crusty mood about a whole drug fraud, our Premier of Ontario, would be an understatement.
Yeah. I got that. I listened to the Wednesday show on the way back, on the Monday show on the way back, and I was worried about you a little bit.
It happens, you know.
I have to say, it was a little dark.
Well, it was Blue Monday, right? And whether, I know it's a marketing ploy by a travel company in the UK, but there's some realism to it, I thought I'd start off this morning with something light, though. This is a video from Brittle Star. It's 54 seconds. It's worth your watch if you haven't seen it. It perfectly sums up our current state of affairs in the province of Ontario.
Important. You want to make sure you and your loved ones receive the best healthcare you can afford, and hopefully you can afford it. Our new Decadent Healthcare Plan puts you and your family's needs at the front of the line, unless someone else offers us more money, in which case, back of the line, hobo. Just kidding. Don't worry. If you can't afford our Decadent plan, you can try our new Memories of Healthcare. For one low-ish fee a month, you can get an appointment with someone who looks like a doctor, but talks suspiciously like a vet. Can't afford that? Try our No Frills and Pills plan. That's where you get to ask any of our supermarket or drugstore cashiers across the country Does this look normal to you? Oh, almost forgot. Break 2 legs this month and earn 50 Shareholders' Choice bonus points. Private healthcare. The sicker you get, the richer we get.
And, Stuart Brittlestar always seems to just put that perfect button on it, right? He sums it up in a comedic way, but lets the rage through at the same time. It's not something I've mastered because I can certainly laugh at and enjoy every aspect and every second of that video because it was funny and it had factual-ish information in there. But I've just been raging for the last 2 days over the fact that, we're about to build a bunch of private healthcare surgery facilities with public funds. So private for-profit funded by the public purse. I call that corporate welfare. Why don't they just build public hospitals for the public? You'll never take your credit card out. Except, normally in a hospital, if you go in for surgery, unless it's something like heart surgery, they usually check you in and out the same day, correct?
I've never had heart surgery. I don't know, but even
not heart surgery, but I mean day surgery. Many surgeries these days, you're in and out the same day.
Yes.
Something tells me these private clinics are going to, OHIP will cover the surgery, but we need you to stay here for a couple of days because, we need to observe you. How much is that going to cost you? Is your insurance benefit package that you pay for through your employer going to cover it? Maybe a semi-private room or something to that effect, but really? I mean,
welcome to upselling.
This is what it is. This is exactly what it is. The sicker you get, the richer we get. I know that's not their actual slogan, but come on. I mean,
yeah.
I'm enraged.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, Kits, I don't have much to say about this because I have not been able to listen to the announcements because I took a weekend off and was good to myself. And I like to be able to sometimes, sometimes I come up with things for you like, 3 or 4 days after or a week after. So I have time to listen to stuff from various sides and then bring you a composite picture rather than just reacting to the day's news. So I don't really have much to add on it at the moment. But obviously there's a, how would you put it, working on many levers because, we're allowing certain things that were covered as fees, like, for example, the pharmacy calling your doctor to get your prescription renewed if you had ran out. There's now an outward fee for that in Ontario, at least, of $15.
Which there didn't used to be.
That didn't used to be. That's new. So that's, convenient. So the appearance of convenience fees. Then we're looking at the 13 ailments for which you can get a prescription directly at the pharmacy, which again doesn't cost you money out of the pocket. But it's money that is now going towards the pharmacies rather than your medical professional when your OHIP card is swiped. And in this case, again, when we're having, public funding for profit and private institutions, that's money coming out of the public system when we're refusing to give nurses more than 1% per year, but are willing to pay 4 times the price of a nurse by going through an agency.
And remember the suspicious nepotism-like fact of who owns a lot of those staffing agencies. Yep. Oh, that's right. Former Premier Mike Harris's wife.
Yeah. So it does seem to be that the step here for conservative governments who apparently say that they want less bureaucracy, less government in your life, is making sure that there's a middleman at every point in the system that has the palm out. So it's more like palm view healthcare.
Well, and don't forget, he cut $1 billion from the health budget this year. And $1 billion from the education budget. So you know what's coming next.
That's right? On purpose, right? That was to manufacture this crisis situation that then allows them to say, oh, we have a solution. It's funneling more of your private money towards profit. And he's doing the same thing on education.
Yeah, break the public system so he can parachute in the private system as a rescue.
Yep.
Fuck you, Doug. Fuck you.
No. We need to stop that.
I'm pissed, man. I
We need
know
to
we
stop
need to
that.
stop it, but I
'Cause
am
I don't want to be
beyond
that type
angry.
of show. I don't want to be the rage show.
I'm raging right now, though.
I
I know you
understand.
don't want that, and I don't want it either, but I'm at my wit's end right now. I'm at my wit's end with this guy. Like, seriously, this has been adding to my depression the last few days. I'm not joking when I say this. It's occupied so much of my brain space, and all I'm thinking is there are so many people that are going to suffer horribly under this system. There's people already suffering right now. Hallway medicine, people waiting 9, 10, 12, 14 hours to get in to see a doctor in the hospital.
Yep. And as we mentioned on our previous show, people dying in the ERs. Nova Scotia's had the most number of patients dying in the ER this year than
And
Lord
it's
knows how long.
all under conservative governments.
All in conservative governments that proved that, promised that they would write in to either help healthcare or didn't campaign on any of the things they're doing at all, as is the case in Ontario.
It's really, really, it's creating an issue for me medically. I'm going to have to take some time away from the internet for a few days just to regain my senses. Because the more I read about this, the more enraged I get. And then I read things like this, and it makes me question. Hospital CEOs won't do surgeries in the evening times or weekends. Ford Nation is scared of them, so he wouldn't go that way. Rather turn healthcare like housing unaffordable and forever out of reach for the lowest income groups. I don't know if that is true, but it seems interesting. And then we get this comment. Critics, our hospitals are full and we have massive surgery backlogs. Ford, okay, we'll open more publicly funded surgery clinics to take the load off hospitals. Critics, no, you're destroying public health care. Except they're publicly funded for-profit private enterprise.
Mm-hmm. Where the cost they pay per service is more that they'll pay at the regular. Again, inserting the middleman in order. So it's not about the money, right? You have to understand that when Doug Ford comes around and says, I'm going to be, or I need to be a prudent fiscal manager, that part is bullshit. That part is bullshit because he has no problem paying 4 times more for nurses than he would normally pay if it first goes through a middleman who gets to cash in.
And
he has
this
no
has
problem
been proven.
paying more for the surgeries if it happens to go to a middleman who charges more and can upsell you. So it's not about the money.
Nope.
It's not about being a prudent fiscal manager. When he's talking about salaries, it's always nurses and it's always teachers that he goes to first, as we said on the previous show, because he's a misogynist. He thinks that women's work is not worth much. It doesn't need to be supported. So it's not about the money. It's not about the money. He's got plenty of money. Plenty of money.
He just refuses to spend
to
it on
make
the public.
sure, that it goes through other hands first. So he's actually putting in gatekeepers, adding levels of bureaucracy.
Well, here's
and
another one
inserting
for
more
you.
government into your life. So like when we say the conservatives, there's nothing much more conservative about them anymore these days. This is proof. And the fact that they seem to have all these plans already ready to go shows the amount of time that they put into it. It's not like the situation just came up and they said, oh my God, we need to find a solution. Here it is. These plans have been really developed and they're being rolled out. They're running an right here.
That must be the secret mandate letters that we still don't have access to. We've never seen them. And he's gone to court to keep them protected.
Yeah.
So,
and as we say here, I've read that they're scheduling surgeries based on whether people will pay for upgraded surgeries like more expensive lenses and cataract surgeries. They'll probably, the private for-profit clinics will probably take those first, and will probably take the really, really, really easy cases.
Of course.
That they can just fix and you have to understand there are some economies to be gained by having, like, for example, an operating room that only does a limited number of services. If you're only doing knees all day long, right? You don't have to prepare the operating room for whatever could be coming in. You're just preparing it for the next one. And you can, right? You can pass more people through. And yes, it could probably help with the backlog, but you could probably do that with private not-for-profit clinics or public not-for-profit clinics.
Yes.
Somewhere, right? But even if there were private not-for-profit clinics, but this is private for-profit clinics. Of all the various places that you could go, he went directly for the one that has the middleman that takes the biggest cut.
And we already know this because staffing agencies that are staffing nurses are paying 4 times. They're billing 4 times as much.
Yep. So they
And
have, like I
Dougie's
said, they have
paying
the
it.
money. Yep.
They've got the money.
They've got the money to actually scrap Bill 124 and give people a 5 or 6 or 7% increase. They've got it. They're spending it already.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, then it's not going through the hands they want it to go through.
Their wealthy donors' hands first, where they get a bigger cut, a bigger slice of the pie. And I read somewhere that nurses and healthcare workers that are getting hired by these agencies are getting paid more per hour, which probably very true. How much more? I don't know. I have no idea. But I guarantee you they're not getting 4 weeks vacation, 10 or 15 paid sick days, mental health days. They're not getting the benefits that they would get under the public system. Guarantee you that. Also, I can probably guarantee you they're going to work them 70, 80 hours a week. And the incentive is, well, look at how much more money you'll make. And some people who are desperate will go that route.
Yep.
Because money talks.
Well, it's bend you over a barrel politics.
It's exactly what it is.
I mean, and that's the conservative favorite position for the people, is over a barrel bent over.
And I'm at my wit's end. I'm at my wit's end with this guy. I had some pretty dark thoughts about this guy the other day. I don't want to tell you what I was thinking, but they were dark.
I hear you. And you know, the only reason why I'm saying is, like, don't do that. Don't go there. Is just, you know, things get dark. They do. And we're not adverse to telling people to go run an ultra marathon off the world's shortest pier. Okay, and we're not even averse to dropping the F-bomb, but you know, we also want to be the source for this information for the people who are listening to us, that can bring a little calm, a little temperance, a little sunshine if we can. We mock like crazy, but I don't necessarily want us to be the show that, you know, who are we going to tell to F off today? It's but if there's one thing that's worth getting mad about, it's this.
I would think so, yeah.
It's this. I mean, we're fleecing grandma, we're fleecing grandpa, we're allowing people to die in ERs. We are, in the name of prudent fiscal management, blowing money like drunken sailors so long as our friends get their cut. The last priority is actually on the service. It's last is on the care of the people. And it's happening in all domains. It's happening in education. It's happening in employment. You know, the support for union busting and all of that. The policies are unpopular. The policies are unpopular. For some reason, they keep getting elected.
Well, voter apathy.
People stop caring, or so many people thought. You know, I truly believe that there's a portion of people that don't vote believing that, well, it doesn't matter who wins, right? The government always gets in, and no matter who gets in, I'm going to be okay. But our governments used to run on what it is they wanted to do. This guy ran on none of this, just like he did in the first term when he changed city council, right? And I guess we knew he wasn't going to be pro-environment, but we didn't know he was going to rip charging stations that had already been built out. Right. So money that was already spent doing what it was supposed to be doing didn't harm anybody that it was there. But he was so against it, not only did he have to stop spending money on it, he had to waste money that was already spent and make sure that nobody can have it. Nobody ran on those specific things. So this is a bait and switch. This is a bait and switch. And this is why you vote. This is why you don't go into an election assuming that no matter who wins, I'm going to be okay. Because nowadays, the policy seems to be, again, not about, well, yeah, we might be doing this, but don't look at that. Look over here. Now we're just outright not going to say the crap we're going to do because we know we can't win on it. So we're going to say we're going to do all these things, and then we're going to come in, and then we're going to just drop this whole agenda that was already very much pre-thought and pre-planned because, well, gee, we have all the connections and we've already changed all the regulations behind the scenes to make that happen.
How convenient.
None of you knew about that, but we did.
Well, and when you're talking about the voting public that thought, well, I'm not going to bother to vote, it won't harm me. Here's the problem. Here's what happens. A conservative says it hasn't happened to me, so I don't care. A liberal, and I don't mean Liberal Party member, a liberal says it should never happen to anyone, and that's why I care. So we got to get the citizenry of the province of Ontario to vote en masse in the next election 3.5 years from now, if any of us are still alive. Yeah, I'm a bit hyperbolic there, but there's a reason for it. People are going to die under this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as Kit said, Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe says, it's actually the opposite. People don't vote because they know it doesn't matter. They get screwed no matter who gets in. There's a portion of that, but there's also the portion of people who are so comfortable, but it doesn't matter who they get in or what they do because they know they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And those are the people we need to reach.
Yes. Or they're thinking that,
know.
They're thinking that, well, the government that comes in is not coming to hurt me. Just like Donald Trump at the gates. Well, the people at the mags with all the weapons are not coming to hurt me. Let them in. Yes, but they're coming to hurt someone because you don't bring weapons unless you're planning to hurt someone. So maybe don't let them in at all because it's not all about you. Pretty much similar situation here, right? Like this, you got to vote.
I got to address this.
You got to vote for the people in your life that you care about who don't have as much as you do.
Exactly. I have to address this comment from Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe. The only policy in politics is to get the years in required to get the golden pension. Federally, yes. Provincially, there is no pension for MPPs in the province of Ontario.
Yeah.
None. Zero. That was eliminated by, of all people, Mike Harris. So there is no golden parachute. There is no golden handshake. There is no pension for members of provincial in the province of Ontario. There hasn't been for almost 30 years.
Yeah,
I know
I
that
don't know what
comes
the
as a
situation
surprise
is
to
in the
a lot
other
of people.
provinces, but yeah.
But in Ontario, there's none. Zero.
Yeah.
So, so Randy Hillier, who is ousted, I don't know if he gets paid for the end of his term because he was elected, even though he's not rerunning. I'm not even sure what the deal is with him. He would get some sort of package and that's it. He doesn't have a pension. He has no money coming in. So unless he heavily invested his MPP salary over the last few years, he's going to be at the trough soon enough.
Yep. And then we have Kit BB here that says, need a general strike as soon as possible. I thought we were going there in Ontario. I really thought there. But, that's what's happening in the UK at the moment for all intents and purposes. It's a rolling general strike that's going on. And, I think there's a lot of people that are looking to the UK to see how the government does there. And if the government starts spending, a lot of good ideas spread like wildfire. And all they need to see it is have some success in one spot, and it'll probably come here too. So let's hope that the people in the UK are showing us the way at the moment.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's what here's the one thing I'm hanging on to. Right? The one thing I'm hanging on to, even though it's 3.5 years away, this little tidbit. Buddha didn't actually say this quote, but I do love it. Dildo of consequences rarely arrives lubed. Buddha. I know the Buddha didn't actually say that. Sounds like something he would have said, but Doug,
modern Buddha.
The modern Buddha. Doug, you're in for a surprise in 3.5 years. But we need to keep the public informed and aware of what is happening. I mean, when somebody says, look, but, they're building publicly funded, they're building publicly funded private for-profit programs. And let's not forget about, what is it, Maple? What is it, this one
Maple.
here? Yeah, here it is. Flush with pandemic profits, Loblaws is invested in Maple, a private Toronto company putting fee-paying patients at the front of the line for a physician visit. And Loblaws lawyers seem to have found a loophole in the Canada Health Act to do it legally. Get care 24/7. Get care in minutes 24/7. Pay per visit $69. Membership $30 a month. This is really disturbing because it's the slippery slope.
Yep, it is. It is. It's the thin edge of the wedge.
The pension is still available in Alberta for MLAs. Because in Alberta, it's MLA, not MPP, correct?
Yeah. Oh, man. A little chippier news?
Sure, you got something
Interesting.
for me? Because I
I got
don't
some
have
chippier.
anything.
All right.
Got
I have
nothing.
some Canadians who make us proud news.
I have this, though. One second.
Okay.
I'm going to put this up real quick. I have this. With a little dollop of humor, anti-vaxxers are a dying breed. Okay, so let's go to what you got, brother.
That's bad. That's bad.
Well, I mean, as Betty Davis would say, one should only say good things about the dead. He's dead. Good.
I always heard that about Joan Crawford specifically.
Well,
People tell me that Joan Crawford's dead. Well, mother told me we should only speak good for the dead. Joan Crawford's dead. Good.
Yeah, that would be Betty Davis. That would be Betty. Yeah. Okay, Canadian make us proud, please, sir.
Joni Mitchell will be the first Canadian recipient ever to win the prestigious Gershwin Prize.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. A little over a year after being celebrated at the Kennedy Center, Joni Mitchell will return to Washington for another Lifetime Achievement honor, the Library of Congress's Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. Mitchell, 79, is widely regarded as among the greatest singer-songwriters of her time, with their best-known works including Chelsea Morning, Big Yellow Taxi, and Free Man in Paris. The prize honors artists who have made exceptional contributions to popular music in the spirit of the sibling songwriting team, George and Ira Gershwin. I thought that would have happened a long time ago, but nope. She will be honored March 1st at a tribute concert airing March 31st on PBS stations. Thank you, PBS. And Joni Mitchell was also honored as the Music Cares Person of the Year before last year's Grammys Awards. After nearly 2 decades away, she returned to the stage in July for the 22 Newport Folk Festival. We showed a clip of that with Brandy Carlisle and I think is Winona Judd. Oh, no, Winona's the one who died, right? I don't remember.
Naomi?
Now. Naomi
died. Winona's still alive.
Winona's still alive, yes. And everybody was there, and she played a whole set and even broke out the electric guitar and played some. So, it was so yeah, way to go, Joni Mitchell, still making us proud, and she's still at it, right? She's still, I believe that she's still recording.
She's not in the best of health, but her voice is still very much there.
Yeah, very much.
Like
so.
when she came out at the Newport Jazz Festival with Brandy Carlisle, nobody expected her to perform.
Mm-hmm.
They just thought she was just going to come out and wave to the crowd, and she ended up doing a full live set, and everybody was kind of like, "Holy shit!"
There's something like
stage with a legend
or something, right?
Yeah. So it's like she still got it. She still got it.
Yeah. In other news about Canadians who make us proud, because I'm a tennis nut and the Australian Open is on, I have to give a report. The first round had a match against Felix Auger-Aliassime and Vasek Pospisil, which broke my heart because I hate it when Canadians play each other in the first round.
Yeah,
but it was one hell of a match. It went 4 sets, with Vasek winning the first one 6-1, and sets 2 and 3 needing to go into a tiebreak, which Vasek lost 4 and 3, so 7-4, 7-3, and then Felix finished him off. But Vasek put up a pretty good fight. I think if you were playing anyone who weren't top 10 in the world, he might have won that match. He was in fine form. Bianca Andreescu had a great round 1, beating number 25 in the world, Maria Buskova. But then she had a flub in the second one, losing to 100th in the world, Carla Busca from Spain. She had won the first set, but lost the second 7-9 in a tiebreak, and then sort of just fell away in the third. Leila Annie Fernandez won her first round, and she had a tough one as well, because if you're the top 32 in the world, you get seeded, and you are guaranteed to play someone lower. But if you're 33rd or 34th, for example, you don't. So Leila Annie Fernandez, who is number 40 in the world, drew the number 34 in the world in the first round. which usually doesn't happen at a Grand Slam. You're usually playing someone much lower. But she was playing Alizé Cornet of France, and she beat her rather decisively 7-5, 6-2. So that's a pretty convincing win. Denis Shapovalov won his first round in a 4-set match and is currently on the court right now, leading 2-0. And Felix won his second round match as well. So he's the first Canadian to go to the third round earlier today. Took 5 sets as well. He lost the first 2 sets, 6-3, 6-3 before coming back. And Rebecca Marino lost a match that she probably should have won because she was ranked a little higher against a Zhu from China. And Catherine Sebov, who'd had this amazing run and is this year, finishing last year, winning a tournament in Auckland and then doing well in another one and then getting through the 3 rounds of qualifying here to make her first ever Grand Slam at the age of 24. Unfortunately, for all that success in the draw, got to number 4 in the world, Caroline Garcia, who has been on a tear for about 8 months. So she lost that match 6-3, 6-0. But she made her first ever Grand Slam, and there's good things coming for her this year. She's probably going to get some, wild cards and some invitations to some tournaments by virtue of having done that. So hopefully that will keep up. So our tennis players are doing well. None of the doubles matches have started yet, but so far we had 7 Canadians go in, and we have 4 of them that are out already, with 3 still in there.
Okay.
So Fernandez is our only women in singles left, and Felix and Denis Shapovalov are still there for the men's competition for us. In skiing, Marie-Michelle Gagnon, a veteran of our ski team, took a 13th place in the Super G at St. Anton in Austria, so good for her. And Emma Lunder, who we spoke about at the beginning of the winter sports season, who had picked up a fourth place in a biathlon race in Finland, got another top 10 with a 9th place at Ruhpolding in Germany in the mass start event. And in some news sort of out of left field that nobody maybe would have expected, Alexandria Lautit became the first Canadian to win a Women's World Cup ski jump event on Friday, taking gold at the normal hill competition. It feels totally surreal, Lautit said. It was the best feeling to see the one next to my name, and I'm also very happy that I'm not the only strong Canadian. Our result shows that it's not just pure luck. Now, Horst Buelau, if you're of a certain age, name that you remember, was the last Canadian. Was the last Canadian to win a World Cup men's ski jump event back in 1983.
Yeah, I a friend of mine knew Horst quite well, and I'd met Horst a number of times. And I remember the first time I met him, I went, "Oh, you're much tinier than I expected." I didn't say that, but that was in my head. So I'm like, "Oh, okay," because you see somebody on TV and you've got an image in your mind's eye of what that person is, and then you meet them and like, "Oh, he's okay, yeah, real nice fellow though." And yeah, he was the last Canadian to win a medal in ski jumping, and I saw her performance the other day, and it was like, holy crap, that was something else, man. Way to go. Right, and women's ski jumping is a relatively new sanctioned sport, right?
Right.
Because it wasn't up until the last Olympics. I think it was the first time it was allowed in.
There was some at the Olympics in Vancouver, but I don't know if it was still a demonstration. Because the Canadian women athletes were leading the charge to try and get full sanctioning in time for 2010, and it didn't happen there.
So that's only 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a new sport for the most part, right?
Yeah, for women in terms at this level of competition.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. The only other Canadian to win a World Cup's men's ski jump gold was Steve Collins back in 1980.
Why do I not recall that?
Neither do I.
I was 12, and I watched a lot of sports. I remember the Lake Placid Olympics like it happened yesterday. I watched that Miracle on Ice game live.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So here's the funny thing. I turned on the TV. We were living in Gander, Newfoundland at the time, and that was the only thing on, it seemed, right? So I'm like, Team USA, Team Russia, oh yeah, this should go over well. They're going to get blown out like 14-0, and by the end of the first period, I'm like, this is a game. So I sat and watched the whole thing, and I sat there, mouth agape. How did they do? It is a miracle. It is a miracle. A bunch of college kids beat the best all-star team on earth. I'll never forget it, man.
Yep. Excuse me a second. I need to call.
Okay, you can do that. Hit the mute button. Good, man.
There we go. Yep, I did that. And let's see, what else do we have for you on that one? So Lautit had 2 fourth-place finishes earlier this season, so this was kind of coming. She won Olympic bronze last year at the inaugural mixed team ski jumping event at the Beijing Games as well. That was a medal that came out of nowhere. That was a big surprise for us. The last Canadian to reach the World Cup women's ski jump podium was Calgary's Taylor Henrik, who had 2 third-place finishes in 2015. And Canadian finished 11th in the same event that Lautit won gold. So it was a good result for Canada all the way through. I was trying to find her name here for a second, but I lost it, unfortunately. Hold on, I think I have it here. Abigail Strait was her name. She finished 11th. Is her name, I should say, not was. And then, of course, congratulations goes to our women's junior hockey team, the under 18s, defeated Sweden 10-0 in the final to win back-to-back women's junior world hockey championships and their 7th title total. And the USA defeated Finland for the bronze in that tournament. There's also a tournament going on at the moment called the Universiade Games. And in that one, they're still in round play and group play, and Canada is at the top of the standings in both men's and women's competition. So go Canada, go there. And finally, for people who like golf, at the PGA Sony Open Hawaii Classic, Canadians Nick Taylor finished 7th, and Corey Connors, not related, however, finished 12th. And at the Corn Ferry Tour Bahamas Great Exuma Classic, Will Bateman finished 11th. So there's a whole bunch of Canadians doing some good stuff for us, bringing honor to our country. Way to go. Go, Canada, go.
Yay.
Yeah.
But don't celebrate with a drink.
No. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes. Go ahead.
This is a BBC article, and I thought it was interesting to get their take on it. In Canada, it should be dry January all year round, according to a new national recommendations that say zero alcohol is the only risk-free approach. If you must drink at all, 2 drinks maximum each week is deemed low risk by the government-backed guidance. The advice is a steep drop from the previous recommendation published in 2011. Those guidelines allowed a maximum of 10 drinks a week for women and 15 drinks for men. The new report funded by Health Canada also suggested mandatory warning labels for all alcoholic beverages. The main message from this new guidance is that any amount of alcohol is not good for your health, said Aaron Hoban, a senior scientist with Public Health Ontario and a member of the expert panel that developed the guidelines. And if you drink, less is better. Well, I'm not going to call any of that into question. I wholeheartedly, completely agree with it. Don't know if I'll necessarily observe it, but I do agree with it. I like a pint. I like a glass of wine. I like a glass of whiskey. Sometimes I do have too much. I am well aware of that. And if somebody challenges me to do a dry period, you're going to lose because I can do it. I don't have an addiction to alcohol. I like it. I like the taste of it. I enjoy it. I like how it makes me relax. But if somebody was to wager a certain amount of money with me and said, you can't do it for a year, I'll take your money because I can.
Yeah.
I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yep. Similar here.
And I will say, and it is true, when I've done the dry periods, I've done 3 and 6 months ones, and nobody ever challenged me to a year, but I won each one. And they're like, how are we going to know? And you didn't. I go, because I'm incapable of being dishonest about something like this. Mm. If I lose the bet, I'll come out and say, yeah, I had a drink Friday. Here's the money I owe you. But the thing is this, When I've done those, yeah, I slept better. I felt better. I looked better. I was always in a better mood. I mean, all of the benefits of not consuming alcohol are real and valid and true. All of them. But I'm still going to have a beer.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. No, it's the same thing. And people are reacting to this like it's new.
It's
But
not.
if you would click on the share screen, Miss Grizzly,
Mhm.
we actually mentioned this in the show in early October, or because on September 30th, that's when the news came out. And of course, Brian Lilly was the first one to rush to write some type of thing, apparently, yelling that it was the nanny state that was saying, that you can't have your beer anymore. So first they were coming for your burgers, and now they're coming for your beer, essentially. And nobody picked up on that, really. I
Yeah.
did. But, and then, so yeah, basically it's October 1st tweet of mine on the True North Eager Beaver feed, so True Eager at Twitter, that says, "So much wrong with Brian here. He tries to portray this as a government cabal controlling you on a whim to be tyrannically pure, when the truth is it's the combined work of," and there you go, "all the scientific organizations
Mhm.
that participated in this," right? So it's basically they're learning that basically from the second, more than 2 drinks a week, essentially, uh, increases the odds that you will have certain diseases like cancers, for example. Now, he tries to equate this back at the time that telling the public they are at a greater risk of cancer or dying from an accident if they consume more than 2 alcoholic drinks a week is ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. It is the truth.
It's a fact. It
It's
is
a
a
fact.
fact. It's
It's just a
look,
fact. And
it's
it's what you
poison.
want, what you choose to do with that information. That's
It's
up to you, because we live in a free country, and yes, you are allowed to make decisions, even ones that go against your health, like, for example, not getting vaccinated. There are just consequences. So
Smoking a
nobody's
cigarette.
going to make you an alcohol, for example, that you can drink all you want, and it probably will not lead to some type of cancer. Nobody's going to make that for you. So don't grab and don't go in your trucks and come to Ottawa and start protesting now, because government's not guarantee you alcohol free of consequences, when they're telling you that maybe you shouldn't,
Maybe you
as
shouldn't.
much as you do
Maybe you shouldn't.
for your
Yeah.
health. Yeah, just don't. Right? Because it's pretty much the same dynamic. Pretty
Mhm.
much the same dynamic. Yes, and BB goes, bars are safe consumption sites. Yes, and safe is kind of. You've had more. Like, nobody's died at a safe consumption site yet. When it's for injectable
Mm.
drugs,
Mm.
people have died leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just- yeah, I've been in the city where, in some places, if you look at someone's girl the wrong way after having a few too many, you end up stabbed.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been to those cities. I've been to those
So,
pubs.
yeah,
And let's not forget one of the things that was brought in legislation in the last number of years, and a lot of lawyers got really concerned. It was like anybody who serves alcohol will be held responsible for anything a drunk person does afterwards.
hmm
So if you had a backyard barbecue and you had beer or wine or coolers or whiskey or any type of alcohol, and somebody drove away and harmed someone, you're held responsible. I'm like, wait a second here. I didn't hold the person down and pour the liquor down their throat, but you served it to them. No, I had a bin full of beer. It was a help
hmm
yourself. I didn't serve anybody. They served
hmm
themselves. Like, where's personal responsibility here in this is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
And they were
There's probably,
lawyers were really concerned about that legislation being passed because they're like, if that happens, that's an end to public gathering.
Mhm.
Period. I mean, I get where the people are going with it, but what about personal responsibility?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, make an informed decision. This is an informed decision. Having more than 2 drinks a week is not healthy. What you do with that information is up to you.
Yep.
I gotta go.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
be late.
Yeah. Okay. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of Just a Nibble, the Not Quite Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to this, because we love making this for you. Because democracy is something you do. If you can roll up your sleeves for the Red Cross or him at Quebec, please do. They are, oh, kids, seriously. what you're saying in the chat here. I don't think Safe is doing a lot of lifting here. I don't think someone should be responsible for someone else's decisions, but I'm good if I offer cocaine. Kids, seriously. So yeah, if you can roll up your sleeves because blood it's in you to give, and they're low on platelets and O negative blood in particular. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Dean Blundell Network as well as anywhere you get all your podcasts featuring a grizzly bear and a beaver. I'm trying to do this too fast now. Please share the podcast. We love your feedback. We're on Facebook, Twitter. Our email is truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Our Twitter feed is @trueeager. And on Facebook, you can find us at the True North Eager Beaver. Also, our YouTube channel, True North Eager Beaver Media. Please subscribe. We need your help so that we can monetize this thing. If you never want to miss an episode, you can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, with a hyphen between each one of those words. We have a new flagship show for you, episode number 33, called Defense, Defense, Defense. It is not available on video. The flagships we record and they're audio exclusives. So please make sure that you get that. And on this coming Saturday around 2 p.m. Eastern, we will be having our monthly pub chat. Our pubcast
Where I'm
is
going to have more than 2 drinks.
Probably. No politics, just friendly conversation and relaxed chill time. So please join us if you can. If you really like this podcast and wish to encourage us to do more, we work for tips. Please buy a pint of Guinness for Mr. Grizzly here, or a cup of or Caesar for me at our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And thank you, Kit Linda, for having sent us a wonderful and very generous tip. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And finally, if you'd rather get something for your money because you're a savvy shopper and you like a good deal, we have merch. We have something for everybody in sizes small to 3XL, a total of 6 designs. Get your Mr. Grizzly Civics tees or your Eager Beaver, podcast tees, and let people know that you are informed. Wearing those tees and and getting our merch increases your ability to maintain your New Year's resolutions by 22.3%. I said 19.2 last show, but it was actually 22.3.
It's gone up.
I have to double check the information. Yes. Being informed has never been more fashion. Go to deanblundell.square.site/s/shop to get yourself some fabulous today. Let people know that you're an engaged citizen. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there. So as the blight board behind you says, be kind to and gentle with yourself. And Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
Yes. Remember to breathe. Try and do your best to show gratitude everywhere you can, and contain your rage as much as possible. Otherwise, you'll blow up like I do.
And that's not
necessarily good.
Channel it. Don't contain it. You're going to burst.
Well, you do need to let the steam off.
Yes. Thank you to Kit Linda. That's an excellent flagship episode. Everyone should listen to it. We really appreciate that. And thank you to Kit BB, who said something, I believe, in the chat about this. Oh, your commentary is very inviting, fellas. Thank you for your beauty morning gift. Well, thank you so very much as well. And I believe someone liked the sports report too there. So thank you for that as well. All right, Mr. Grizzly, roll the credits, please.
The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver Mr. Grizzly collaboration. Research, story, and guest curation and copy written by the Eager Beaver. Recording, production, editing, and additional research by Mr. Grizzly. Music courtesy of Ben Sound Royalty Free Music. Once again, thank you to our founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. And thank you to Pete Jarvis for our artwork. We love it. Kits, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Take care.
And I just found it. It was Kit South Stands TFC that said this sports update is awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Have a good day, Kits.
Take care.
Bye.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.